Hello everybody, my name is Frans Stiene. I am from the International House of Reiki and I'm based in Amsterdam, Holland. I've been writing lots of books about the system of Reiki. I have the Inner Heart of Reiki, Reiki Insights, and my latest book is The Way of Reiki, The Inner Teachings of Mikao Usui. What for me is really important is to really go back to the roots of the system of Reiki. So this is also why I train with Japanese priests in Japan. One of my teachers is Takeda Hakusai Ajari, and his own teacher is one of the great marathon monks in Japan, Sakai Dai Ajari. And to train with these kind of people, for me, I really start to rediscover the roots of the system of Reiki, where it all really came from. So for example, when we look at the precepts, we can really see that it doesn't really say anything about hands-on healing. So when we look at the back, this is the precepts in Japanese, there's no mention of hands-on healing. And yet, there is mention of healing the mind. So when we heal the mind, no anger, no worry, being grateful, being true to our inner being, and showing compassion to ourselves and others, yes, it's a slightly different translation than maybe we are used to, particularly one, be true to your way and your being. So when we look at these precepts, then we can see this is a very profound healing. Because when we heal the mind, what happens to your body? When we no more anger and worried, right? We become more relaxed. When we become more relaxed in our body, what happens to your energy? It starts to flow. Right? So really important to realize this. Normally, often we do hands-on healing and we still have a lot of anger and worry and fear. I say this a lot and then some people say, but I don't worry about anything when I do hands-on healing. And yet afterwards they say, well, I hope my clients feel something or I hope they get better. And all these things based on hope are actually worry. So often there is a lot of worry in these treatments. Also sometimes anger. Maybe the client says, I don't really like it. I didn't feel anything. Then we get worried and angry that we're not good enough. So we really have to investigate this. Of course, on a daily basis, if we stop worrying and being angry, being more grateful, true to our inner being and being compassionate, then the whole day can be a state of healing. And the wonderful thing what Mikao Usui says today. Mikao Usui didn't say on a massage table, on a Reiki chair, when we do hands-on healing, on your yoga mat. No, Mikao Usui was saying today. And today in Japan, all of these traditions use it. Means that every action we do today is a form of healing. Every action we do today is an embodiment of the precepts. Every action we do today is really how we can shine this light, this great bright light, Mikao Usui so beautiful explains in Shimpoden Reiki 3, into our daily world. This is where the true healing happens. Hands-on healing is just a tiny element of it. Of course, very powerful, but if I do hands-on healing with anger, worry, fear, etc., or I do hands-on healing without it, and I'm very open, I'm very spacious, I feel this luminosity within myself, this great bright light, and hands-on healing will be very different. So here we can already see that the way Mikao Usui pointed out what the system of Reiki was not really based on hands-on healing. It was a spiritual practice to help us with our state of mind. And the more we feel this luminosity within ourselves, the more we relax, we become more calm, more open. Of course, that energy starts to flow more and more and more. Now, here's an interesting thing. Often we think, I'm going to practice and next month I'm going to have this luminosity, or in 10 years' time I have this luminosity, or in 5 years' time I'll be one with the universe. And we feel like that when we're practicing, we're gathering more energy, more light. But that's not really the truth. This is a mistaken viewpoint. Because Mikao Usui says, today you are already enlightened. We just don't realize it yet. We don't have to add more energy to it. Sometimes when we practice, we say, oh, I'm feeling more and more energy. That energy exists there already, except we're not aware of it because we're so confused. The biggest confusion is I, me, mine. And we can also see this hidden within the precepts. Who is getting angry? I'm getting angry. Who's getting worried? I'm getting worried, etc. So, at the moment when I look outside, it's misty and cloudy, and might say the sun is not shining. Of course the sun is shining. No one switched the sun off. No one put a dimmer on the sun. The sun is already perfect. So when the clouds part, I said, oh, it becomes more sunny. It didn't become more sunny. The sun didn't suddenly increase. If we look correctly, we see that the sun is already bright. This is a symbolic representation of our true nature, our true self, that we are Reiki. This is what Mikao Usui pointed out. And therefore very important to realize this. So this is also why in the character, the kanji, the symbol of Reiki 3, we can see the sun and the moon. We don't have to add more light to the sun. We don't have to add more light to the moon. Already luminous. So we are ready Reiki, 100%. We can also not say, oh, today I'm 50% the universe, and through more practice I'll become 75% of the universe, and through more and more practice I'm 80% of the universe, and then I forgot to practice and I go back to 50% of the universe. Impossible. Right now, today, you're already 100% the universe. We just don't see it, we don't believe it, we don't trust it. So Mikao Usui devised the system of Reiki, to realize that we are Reiki. The word Reiki in Japan really means Buddha nature, or Kami, our true self, our essence. Often the word Kami is translated as God, but really is your own divine being. The first symbol, for example, in Japan traditionally this meant go to Kami. Go inside. If you look at it, the movement of this symbol is going inwards. Go inside. Here inside is your Kami. Here inside is your divine being. Here inside is your bright light, your inner happiness. It's not out there. But often we think that Reiki is something up there and now we have to grab it. It hangs mysteriously in some kind of Reiki cloud. But it's right here with you today in all you do. And this is why Mikao Usui devised this wonderful system, what includes the precepts, meditation practices, hands-on healing, symbols and mantras, and Reiju. Reiju, often translated as attunement or initiation, but the word Reiju actually means a spiritual blessing. And if we look correctly at this word, traditionally, it means spiritually giving and receiving at the same time. It's, in fact, what are we receiving? The knowledge that we are already this great bright light. The teacher doesn't magically hook you up to some Reiki cloud. The teacher is there to help you to realize that you are this great bright light already. But the way to do this is that the teacher themselves need to be in this space. If the teacher still thinks that Reiki is somewhere external and now they have to hook up the student, then of course we don't get this effect. So therefore, very important for the teacher to keep practicing hands-on healing, the meditation practices. And these meditation practices, for example, is like Joshin Kokyo. And if we translate Joshin Kokyo, it means pure mind, true breathing in and out. Every breath we take can be pure mind. But normally we're distracted. We're distracted by the past, we're distracted by the future, we're confused about the present moment. So when we focus on our breathing, we practice the meditation practice like Joshin Kokyo. Over time we can see that our mind from beginningless time is already pure. Just like we can see when the clouds part that the sun is already there. It's wide open spaciousness. But most of the time, we focus only on the clouds. We focus on the clouds of worry and anger and fear and anxiety. And then we have to shift our focus. But what if we train ourselves not to constantly get distracted by these clouds? So we train our mind, stay focused. The more we stay focused, this is traditionally called samatha. The more we stay focused, then what happens? The clouds part by themselves, because now we're not focusing on these clouds. We focus on our breathing practice, our hands-on healing, or a symbol and a mantra. These similar mantras traditionally were also used for inner contemplation. They were never meant to be used externally on a client. They were for you, for your own personal understanding that right now you are already luminous and bright and clear. You're already great bright light. You're already enlightened. So, for example, the Reiki symbol and mantra, what we use in Okuden, the third one, often seen as distance healing symbol. If you translate this correctly, it means my original nature is right mind. Right mind in Japanese is very common. You can look it up in most Zen books that talk about right mind. Right mind in Japanese also means no mind, mushin. Mushin means not being distracted by past, present, future. Not being caught up by labeling things. So if I label things in my practice, oh, hot means this, cold means that, tingling means this, I'm already not in right mind. I'm already not in no mind. I'm already not following Mikao Usui's instructions. Right mind, therefore, is a mind that doesn't label, judge, get stuck anywhere. It flows freely. This is right mind. Right mind is a Zen concept, but you can see it also in Tendai Buddhism, in Shingon, in Shugendo. So all of these things Mikao Usui pointed out very, very clearly. Unfortunately, we have mislaid all this knowledge. We've translated it in the wrong way. We've interpreted it in our dualistic way. So for example, again, my original nature is right mind. It doesn't say anything about distance healing. It says, in fact, the opposite, that right now, our original nature is interconnectedness. We've never been separated. So, for example, if I say, I need to connect to Reiki, or I need to connect to my client, or I need to connect to my great bright light. In fact, I'm saying to myself that I feel disconnected. Now I need to connect. But already you're interconnected with everything. We're breathing, everybody is breathing the same air. We don't have here Dutch air and there is another country's air. Impossible, right? Therefore, all of these tools are there to help us to realize that we're already interconnected. We don't have to connect to Reiki. We have to remember that we already today, 24 hours a day, we are Reiki. 24 hours a day, today, we are already this luminosity. 24 hours a day, there's possibility for healing to take place. Normally we go, oh, now I'm connected, now I'm doing some healing, and now I'm not. Now I'm doing my daily life. This is a very confused idea because now not suddenly we are connected to the universe and now we're suddenly not connected to the universe. We are already 24 hours a day connected to the universe. So there's possibility for 24 hours healing to happen. The word Reiki, if you really look correctly, the old way means a shaman praying for rain. This rain is not wet rain, it's a universal rain. It's a universal rain what falls 24 hours a day. If I would ask you how to touch the universe, what do you have to do? Nothing. You have to do absolutely nothing. Because we are ready touching the universe by itself, inside, outside, 24 hours a day. But we say, oh, now I have to do this. Now I have to do that. Now I have to do this. Now I have to throw a mantra or a symbol or all of these things to be able to connect to energy. In fact, this is not the truth. The truth is that we are already interconnected 24 hours a day, 100% with the universe. It's a confused mind what thinks we're not interconnected with the universe, and therefore we need to use these tools. But over time, when we practice more and more and more, we realize that all of these tools were just there to help us to remember that we are the universe, that this healing is happening 24 hours a day. And this is what we have to remember. And when we bring this light, this luminosity of no anger, no worry, being grateful, being true to your way and your being, and being compassionate to yourself and others, into the world will be a different place. And this compassion is not a compassion what changes. This compassion what Mikao Usui talks about is a compassion linked to right mind or no mind. It's a compassion linked to our original nature, to being kami, a divine being. This compassion is a compassion what doesn't change according to circumstances. Normally this compassion changes all the time. Today I'm really kind to my sister, and tomorrow she says something and now I'm not kind anymore. Today I'm being kind to my neighbor and then something happened and suddenly I'm not kind anymore. Today I'm kind to myself and tomorrow something happened and I'm not kind to myself anymore. This is a compassion. It's based on confusion. It's compassion based on these clouds. But the true compassion Mikao Usui talks about is a compassion based on the luminosity, your great bright light, this spaciousness, a compassion what doesn't change according to circumstances. And this is what Mikao Usui was pointing out very clearly. If we look correctly and deeply enough into the precepts, into the symbols and mantras, into hands-on healing, into the meditation practices, into Reiki, pure mind, Joshin Kokiho, pure mind means a mind not caught up with the clouds, a mind not caught up with anger and worry and fear. Pure mind means a mind of compassion, of being grateful, of being true to your way and your being. A pure mind means being kami, being a divine being. A pure mind means my original nature is right mind. So as we can see, all of these tools Mikao Usui used are pointing out to one and the same thing. They're not really doing other things. That's our confused mind saying that. But the right mind, if we look correctly, we see that the whole system of Reiki points to one thing: remembering your inner great bright light of love and compassion and kindness. And a kindness and compassion what doesn't change according to circumstances. What means heaven on earth. In Japanese, Pure Land. The second symbol in Reiki 2 is linked to Amida. Amida Buddha, Pure Land. That Pure Land is not somewhere over there. It's not something what happens when we die. The Pure Land is right here. But we have to really remember it. So I hope you enjoyed this talk and enjoy your practice. Enjoy the system of Reiki. Keep practicing. Keep digging deep. Don't stay on the surface meaning. The surface meaning is just really basic. Go deeper. Really remember your inner luminosity.